When you hear people discussing sustainability, environmental consciousness, or global warming, how does it make you feel? Defeated? Overwhelmed? Ignorant? Annoyed? What if I told you that by joining the conversation and committing to doing your part, you could actually increase your own happiness and health? The science of happiness has been studied by many psychologists and philosophers. There are countless books, studies, documentaries, and TED Talks about happiness, where it comes from, and how to increase it. Many have agreed that our happiness is comprised of three main sections. 10% is determined by our circumstances, 50% by our biology, and 40% by intentional activities. This tells us that we have the capability to influence almost half of our happiness. One of the first steps in understanding happiness is understanding what makes a human unhappy. In the short film, The Story of Stuff, the narrator, Annie Leonard, walks us through how consumerist culture actually contributes to lower health and lower happiness for both humankind and our environment. The short version is, we go to work to make money, to shop because we hate our jobs, and advertising tells us that shopping will make it better. But then advertising also tells us that there's a bigger, better version of what we just bought. So we have to go back to the job that we hate to make more money to buy the bigger and better things. Then on top of all of that, the things we buy come in packaging that all goes to the garbage, and when we buy the bigger, better, the smaller and worse goes to the dump. By shopping, we also give the okay to companies to run huge factories that emit harmful chemicals into our air and water. We are buying things to try to fill the void of happiness, but things aren't really the solution. Consumerism also contributes to living outside of one's means, which can decrease our happiness and contentment. When we live outside of our means, that often leads to things like debt, which can be very stressful. In his TED Talk called The Happy Planet Index, Nick Marks, a statistician from the UK, identifies 5 key habits of a happy person. Number 1, connect. Number 2, be active. Number 3, take notice. Number 4, keep learning. And number 5, give. These are practices that feed our basic human desires, which in turn makes for a happier life. These practices can impact one's health, happiness, and the environment. First off, these practices don't cost the earth anything. Furthermore, if you look at each thing, you will notice that it's easily related to environmental consciousness. We as humans desire to connect with people, but also we desire to connect with nature and the greater universe. We gaze up at the stars, we dream about going on adventures to other countries. To unwind, we typically go to a park or go on a hike. Connecting with the world around us both makes us happier and more aware of our impact on it. Being active is regularly done outside. We have all said the phrase, "It felt so good to get some fresh air," or "I wish I could get out more." The taking notice habit, I would rename being mindful. Being mindful of the world around you increases your care for yourself and the environment. You simply cannot help but want to do your part when you're practicing being mindful. As for the keep learning tip, when we are learning something new every day, we are exercising our brains, which is just like a muscle. Even beyond that, we are fueling our desire to try new things, to be knowledgeable, to have commonalities with others, and beyond that, learning a new skill brings happiness through self-accomplishment and pride. If you feel uneducated about something, say sustainability, never be afraid to read, watch documentaries, or even watch some TED Talks. There's a vast amount of information out there. Dive in. The last practice for increased happiness is to give. There have been studies that have shown that if 2 groups of people are given $100 each, and one group is told to spend it on someone else, and the other group is told to spend it on themselves, the group that spent it on someone else is going to be increasingly more happy. And did you know that happiness could be contagious? Randy Taryn, the founder of Project Happiness, shared in her TEDx talk that our happiness can have 3 degrees of impact. She postulated that when someone encounters your happiness, they become 25% more happy. Then the next person they encounter has a 10% increase of happiness. And even another person's happiness, 2 degrees separated from yours, can increase by 5.6%. I think living sustainably can have the same kind of effect on us. It can be contagious. When those around us are practicing sustainability, we feel inspired and capable of doing our part. There are a few people in my community who inspire me to live more sustainably. Take Ben and his wife Meredith, for instance. They are building a tiny house together. Their reasoning is multifaceted. They feel better when they are living within their means. They want a home, but they also want to be financially independent by paying off their debt faster. Once they finish building, they will completely own their house without a mortgage. They will also use 90% less energy and resources than the average apartment. They find comfort and happiness in the fact that their house has been built with 20% reclaimed materials and 70% environmentally friendly materials. Additionally, the tiny home movement is focused on community, connection, relationships. It also creates a mindfulness of space, impact on the environment, and spending money on experiences rather than stuff. When I asked Ben if it was satisfying to build something with his own hands, he said, "Yes, I think there is that satisfaction. Knowing that I've crafted something aesthetically pleasing and highly functional is something that I very much enjoy. My grandfather built his house, significantly larger, so it's kind of akin to that." There is no doubt that this move by Ben and his wife will increase their happiness. They will be connecting with others, and they already have been. They are being mindful of their impact on the world. They are moving, learning, and giving back to the earth and people around them. Zach Henkin, a Merrillhurst alumni, committed his career to sustainability. He works for Drive Oregon, a business primarily focused on e-vehicles. Recently, he traveled to Seoul, South Korea, through his work to learn about the progress in electric vehicles there. He said, "Sustainability contributes to a greater fulfillment." By working so closely with alternative energies, he has also decided to bike more often, which has increased his health and wellness. Alex Mim and his wife Sarah are extremely committed to sustainability. While studying sustainability at Merrillhurst, Alex has started and ran the Student Organization for Sustainability, or SOS for short. He has also been a part of the Merrillhurst Sustainability Advisory Council, has volunteered with Northwest Earth Institute, and connects with many people about sustainability. His wife Sarah is the co-organizer for their neighborhood's community garden, works part-time with Northwest Earth Institute, volunteers with Metro and Clackamas County, and she has completed Metro's Master Recycler program. They feel as though, by doing their part, as small as it is, that they are still part of a larger, very important movement. Alex said, "Living more sustainably has certainly made me happy, and it has come on a level that is, I think, much more meaningful and heartfelt than anything I have experienced before." Even I myself have taken steps to become more conscious and connected to the environment. This spring, I committed to a full 20-foot by 10-foot garden plot in the Merrillhurst Community Garden. It has been quite a bit of work, but every time I go out there, I feel so at peace. I have noticed how much more I'm aware of simple things like the colors of my sprouts' leaves and the feel of my dirt as I tend to my plot. I feel more connected to the earth, to my food, and to the effort it takes to grow it all. It has been a little sanctuary for me during this busy term. Although not all of us desire to build our own tiny home or have enough time to volunteer at many different organizations, there are still steps and actions we can take individually to help our environment. The fact that these steps and actions can also increase our well-being is a pretty good reason to start, I'd say. So what do you say? Maybe just start with one step. Connect with some friends on a hike or plant a tree. Get active, whether that be with an environmental organization or by simply going outside. Be mindful of what you're buying and why. Look up some research on a current environmental issue in your area. Give back to the planet in some way. Recycle more, plant something, or maybe try to drive a little less. Whatever you decide to do, just remember that you have the ability to control a large portion of your happiness while simultaneously living a more sustainable life to save this beautiful planet we all live on. Grab your sustainable happiness.